All right, guys. Hello. Welcome. It worked. Sorry, guys. Hi, everybody. Pilot person, how are you? Flyman från Norge. Give me PM6. Hey, welcome back, man. Welcome. Hi, is everybody? Flyman, how was work? Work was alright. Work was fun. It's fun to fly. Uh, oh, no way! Follow my flight since yesterday on Flight Radar. Long haul flight. Charitage. Man, it's awesome that people keep track of me. Feels good. Feels good, guys. Uh, so first of all, apologies for the slight delay in the stream. Um, wasn't my intention. What happened was we landed like on time. Everything is nice. Nice shortcut. Beautiful landing, guys. Beautiful landing. One of my best. Piece of art. I mean, it was amazing. That being said, once I taxi off, uh, ground says, yeah, you need to, you need to taxi the remote. God damn it. So, yeah, I had to park on a remote stand, and because it's remote, like, you need buses for the passengers, and poof, took forever to get home. So, there you go. So I do apologize for the delay. No, man, I did the landing. What are you guys talking about? What are you guys talking about? Hey, Wriggles, here he is, the most handsome animation. Evening, mate. Hamburg was great. Hamburg was beautiful. Wriggles, my man, how are you doing? How are you doing, sir? One of the best streamers we have actually. Wriggles, go check him out, boys. Right. Today is gonna be we have done this before, but we're gonna do it again, and the reason being that we have to go through all the systems again, guys, because I've started putting them on YouTube. So, Jack Reeves, yo, man, you are in perfect timing, like perfect timing. We just started. I just spawned on the runway, so that's exactly where I wanted to be. Got to get things moving. Hamburg was great, guys. They're doing some construction work. They're doing some constructions, but it's good. It's nice. ATC is helpful, and so on, so on. So, as I said, we gonna cover the fuel systems. I thought we'll talk about fuel planning again, because it has come up a lot of times, and then we'll talk about the fuel system, how it works. We'll talk about how to operate it, and different bits and bobs. Then we'll do a failure, and the failure we're gonna be doing is quite interesting because it has happened in real life with many operators, and Boeing has since changed the QRH to reflect it. Now we're gonna use the PMDG QRH. I'm not sure. I haven't looked at it yet, so I don't know which QRH, like which version they have. But it's gonna be really interesting. It's gonna be an interesting failure, which will require us to think, not act. So something's gonna go wrong, and we need to think before we act. And it's gonna be a really good example of aviate, navigate, communicate. Like we need to fly the airplane first of all, and then we need to make some decisions. And it's gonna be, we can't rush this. We cannot rush it. So it's gonna be really exciting. Oh, Ray, you're close by Hamburg? Man, you should have come and watched me. Koran, how you doing, man? Swiga, hello Hiva. Shout out to Louis Purcell. He wants to be a pilot. He's my son. Wish him the best. Louis, I wish you the best, man. This is quite a job. This is quite a job, and it is beautiful. And just study hard, and always, what I always say, you know, aim for the stars, and at least you'll reach the treetops. Meaning that at least you get somewhere, but do have high ambitions, you know? When I was a kid, I wanted to be an astronaut. Now, that didn't work out, so then I said, I'll be a fighter pilot, but that didn't work out either, because my eyesight, when it's dark, like nighttime, I don't see anything. Like, I need glasses. So at nighttime, I use glasses. So, and the Swedish, because I'm Swedish, people don't believe me, but I was actually born in Sweden, and they wouldn't take me because of, they said, no, once you join, you can have correction, but not before. So I ended up flying for Ryanair. But I love it. Life is good, guys. Life is good. Oh, Mihan, hey, after a terrible day at work, it's good to have some chill and your lecture. Mihan, sucks that you had a terrible day, but listen, don't worry about it, right? So, does it help to worry? Doesn't help, right? So, we're gonna have a great time, guys. Interesting failure, fuel system again, because I need to get these up on YouTube, as you've been asking. And then we're gonna do fuel planning as well, and that's the first thing we're gonna do, fuel planning. Hey, Swiga Swiga, main man. Alright guys, so the flight today, we have done it before, and it's gonna go from Stansted, this is Stansted, and from Stansted to Billund. Sceneries look great. Beautiful sceneries. Who gave this to me? Oh God. Strange Effect. Strange Effect donated the scenery. So that's really nice of him. Today I flew from Malaga to Hamburg in real life. I landed and I was supposed to start the stream I started the stream like 10 minutes late because of the stand I ended up on. The stand was a remote stand, so we couldn't use the air bridge, we couldn't use steps, we had to like get buses and things, and it took forever to disembark. Camero, hey, how nice to see you again, man. Yeah, fully recovered, fit for fight, man. Let's go. Let's do it. Tomorrow I'm flying to Dublin in real life. Tomorrow I might do an early stream before work to get it going. Alright guys, so fuel planning. The flight goes from Stansted to Billund. We're gonna use
wind shear, wind shear, wind shear.
I am poor, bro. €1. Tech Attacks 100. Man, thank you so much. You don't need to donate, guys, but if you do, man, I appreciate it. €1, €50, €100. You all have a place in my heart. Even if you don't donate, what I'd like to see is you guys interacting with me, ask questions in the chat. If I can't answer, I'm sure there is somebody in chat that can answer. I think last time we streamed, we had we talked about the electrical panel, right? We talked about the whole, like the 737, all the electrics, how it works, how to use it, and so on. And then we had a failure, a random failure. I just went on like random.org, and the failure we had was really interesting. Like that even had me baffled for a while.
Wind shear, wind shear, wind shear.
Oh, thanks for taking fuel systems again. Was late for the last stream, Adam. No problem, man. No problem. But guys, I have since started uploading these to YouTube, so it's gonna be awesome. That's why we're doing it again, because we're gonna get these up on YouTube, and then they'll be like, you know, different categories. So it'll be I have air conditioning and pressurization up there, and I have electrics, because they keep disappearing from Twitch, you know, because after like a day or a few days they'll disappear. But now we got them up on YouTube for you guys to for your enjoyment and pleasure. So awesome, guys. I'm really psyched. It's gonna be fun. A little bit tired from work, doesn't matter. Being so late, even like already 76 viewers, that means the world to me. And once we got this is like the longest intro ever, guys. I do apologize, but I'm really psyched. Once we get airborne, and we're gonna be talking about some great news I received. So it's gonna be cool. Future Airline Pod, hey man, I'm doing great. Cold is gone. Fit for fight. If you park at a remote stand, does the next pilot then start from there? UP 5714 depends. Sometimes, yeah, they'll drive us out there. Excuse me, they'll drive us out there and we'll start our day from there. Or they might tow it to the stand the next day. Depends on what operations needs. Flat 40, we might do a PA today because I feel great, guys. I feel great. Tell us something about use of level change. Roby pilot. That might be one of the next streams, like when we do descent planning, because we're gonna do descent planning again and approach, and we're gonna do a lot of things. Level change, just quickly. Level change in a climb will mean that you get full climb power. So the throttles will go to full climb power, and it will pitch for that speed. So it will pitch for the speed. A level change in a descent will go to idle, and it will go to arm. It will go to idle, and then it will pitch for the speed. It will descend according to the speed. So it's like a speed mode. Right, guys. So we're gonna do something. I'm gonna have. I need active sky. That's what we need, guys. That's what we need. Oh, my mic keeps bugging out. Damn it. Mic is okay. Alright, alright. Bro, I don't know. Sounds perfect. Alright, so maybe it's lagging. If we wait a while, if I get enough viewers, they will give me encoding options. And then maybe you could try to lower the quality. That might help. Because it might be me just, trying to, the encoding is going to be awesome. So, yeah. Wait until we get a few more viewers. I might get encoding. Thermal. Hello, I'm a glider pilot looking to become an airline pilot when I'm older. Do you have any tips on making a dream reality? Excuse me. Man, just go for it. Like, if that's your dream, if that's your passion, if you want to be an airline pilot, don't let anybody stop you. Isn't it better to, like, 20 years from now thinking, you know what, I tried, and you know what, c'est la vie, didn't work, but at least, god damn it, I tried, and I did my best. Instead of being 20 years later and say, what if? So, man, go for it. If that's your passion, if that's what's in your heart, don't let anybody tell you anything else. Flyman, I'm so sorry. It's my, I don't know if were you on the last stream when I sneezed straight into the microphone? That was last stream. I tried to mute, but, I missed the button. So I went like a manly sneeze, and then I muted afterwards. So, cool. Let's go, guys. We're gonna go monitor. So active sky, and then some guy showed it to me yesterday that if I press, oh, I forgot what to press. Briefing? No. Conditions. Huh. Or flight plan. Departure. Echo of Sierra, Echo Kilo Bravo India. Okay. Do I then get the... Alright, doesn't matter. We'll do something. There we go. That's what we're going to be talking about. That's the weather for us. Right there. Virgils, you can turn off those flying tips. I really don't think you need them. In the setting options. To options, settings, general. Cockpit tool tips. Disabled. Thanks, Virgils. Maddox, hey, how you doing, man? Welcome back. Quick question: have you worked for Ryanair? Like my whole airline career, have been.
Wind shear.
Daniel Norway, enjoy your flight tomorrow to Dublin. Keep out the awesome streams. Daniel, tack så hemskt mycket. Tackar så hjärtligt. Jävligt schysst av dig, mannen. Vi har knappt börjat med streamen och donationerna kommer redan. Tack så hemskt mycket, mannen. Verkligen. Shit vad, alltså idag kommer bli en riktigt bra dag. Uh, what's M1, N2? That's the speed of your fans. You know that you have the fans in the front. So there's one, but there's one inside the engine as well. The front one is called N1, and then the one in the middle of the engine is called N2. We use N1 to see how fast, like how much power we're using from the engines. Alright guys, Nighthawk, yeah, I do feel great. I do feel much better. So, we're gonna fly from Echo Kilo, sorry, for Echo Golf Sierra Sierra, which is Stansted. We're gonna go to Billund, Echo Kilo Bravo India, and I got the weather here. And if we take off, so, oh damn it, that's not correct. So let's say it's 23, so it's 21 Zulu. We're going to be landing there 22:30, so say 23. Alright, so we're going to be landing at 23. And this is the forecast. What fuel should we take? Should we take extra fuel for this? What do you guys think? We're going to be talking about the whole fuel planning, but just initially, like, what do you guys think of this weather? Is this good? Is it bad? Billund, let's say Billund is only Cat 1, for example. It only has Cat 1. PFPX? I don't think so, man. PFP, I don't know what that is. Looking like extra fuel. Tom Craft, hey, thanks for saying hi though. I'll see you on the next stream. Thanks for stopping by, bro. So, I mean, because we're landing at 23, so we can disregard all of this. And that won't affect us. Right? So, an hour before, half an hour after, or even half an hour before. Like I go 1 hour, 1 hour. That's like that's what I like to use. 1 hour, 1 hour. Then I start getting, okay, 1 hour before, 1 hour after. Then I start looking at it and taking it into consideration. Then we have this thing. There's a temper between 10 and 18, but that should have passed. So the only weather that is applicable is this. So it should be, in theory, it should be 0 at 0 at 8 knots. Which have all the 9s, meaning that the visibility should be more than 10,000 meters or more, and SCADA 4,000. This is basically cav OK. If that was 5,000 or above, that would be cav OK. So I would argue we don't actually need extra weather for that weather for like these conditions. I would argue because both of these lines we could disregard because we're landing at 23. That'll be after us, and that'll be before us. So the base weather will apply. And the base weather is like, yeah, it's cav OK. What does the dash 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 mean? The dash 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 means that this is an auto, so they're like non-directional. It's a computer that did it, and it only measured at one place. I think so. Same with the visibility. It can only measure one way, so you don't know what the other way might be really bad. Great guys. So absolutely. Now, before we go any further, we're gonna have a look at this right here. This is an actual flight plan that Reiner uses. This is a Lido flight plan, and Lido is made by Lufthansa. So Lufthansa uses the same kind of flight plans. There are a few things we have to take into consideration, right? So first thing we're going to talk about is the trip fuel. We're going to be talking about what is trip fuel and how much trip fuel do you need. It says trip fuel to Billund, that's the airport. It says 3,401 kilos. So trip fuel means, guys, just for simplicity's sake, trip fuel is from where I'm now, alright, so where I'm at, on the runway, pressing toga, climbing out, so the whole climb, including up to top of climb, and including any, basically any step climbs, step descents, all of that would have been included, alright, and so the whole cruise segment. Then it will be from top of descent all the way down, and we'll join our arrival, and this will be expected routes, right? So it might be it's what Lido predicts going to happen. So it takes wind into account, and it kind of figures out which runway it's going to be, and to your arrival, and then you'll do the whole arrival all the way down to landing. That is trip fuel. So trip fuel is break from A to B. Okay? So hopefully you guys understand that. So trip is only from one runway to the other runway. It does not include the missed approach. Matt says, "Hi, I was wondering if you could, why you did go to Ryanair instead of SAS. I'm first aviation student. I would love to fly for SAS, but require a really high level of Scandinavian language, unfortunately. SAS, if I went to SAS, I had to go back as a first officer, and it'll take me like 15 years to become a captain again. Doesn't matter how much experience I have. And the pay, to be just frank, like blunt, the pay is not the best. The pay is not the best, to be honest with you. So I'm really happy at Ryanair, where I am. And the roster is much better in Ryanair as well. So, you know, where I'm at in my life, Ryanair is clearly, I mean, it's way better than SAS. That being said, I have a lot of friends in SAS, and they all enjoy it. They're all happy. It's a good airline. It just doesn't suit me. Again, guys, trip is from A to B. It's from one runway to the other runway. Does not include anything else. Doesn't include your taxi. So we're gonna have a look here. So we're gonna add. We'll just scribble it down on a scratch pad here. So 3.4. That's what we have so far. Okay. Baby Knight, he's a first officer in Cessna 550. I got a question for you. Bro, just ask your question, man. Just ask it. Just ask away. That's what we're here. That being said, guys, so let's continue with the fuel. Minimum contingency is 223, or 5 minutes in this case. Contingency is fuel which you always have to add, and is not meant to be used. It's not meant to be used. Swiga, thank you so much, man. It's not meant to be used, but it's there for unforeseen circumstances during your flight. For example, you might, like today, I was flying from Malaga all the way to Hamburg, and during the cruise we had to avoid some weather. There were some CB buildups. CB is cumulonimbus, also thunderstorm clouds. They're really big, they're really mean, and you can't fly through them. You need to avoid them. You use your weather radar to avoid that weather. Avoiding weather will take you off the route, and that could actually make the route longer, obviously. So you might add track miles. That's what the contingency is for example. Or maybe ATC will give you a vector to avoid traffic or so on. Baby Knight says, so you're in ceiling and TKSS climb, what will you do? If TKSS climb, you should climb. This is quite a common misconception people have. Even if you're at your service ceiling, you will have oh my god, I cannot pronounce that. Can somebody help me out? How do you pronounce residual? You will have extra thrust. Oh my god, I'm too tired. Clearly, English isn't my native language, guys. I do apologize. Residual. How do you say that? Oh my god, I will have to Google that. Guys, how do you say that word? Let's go to Google Translate, and then we'll... Residual, right? Residual. Is that how you say it? Residual.
Residual.
Residual. That's what I said. I didn't say that. Apologize. Yeah. So you will have trust. You will have enough trust and performance to climb two engines, not one engine. That's why, for example, if you do the single engine checklist, it will tell you to move your transponder from TA to TA only. Reason being that to avoid climb commands that could exceed your capabilities or performance. Residual. Oh god damn it, guys. So yeah, if TK says climb, you go ahead and climb, man. Even if you're at your service ceiling. Mattis, how much extra fuel should you add in a flight in Europe? We'll have a look at it, guys. Broncho, afternoon. I'll be landing Dublin afternoon. So contingency. Now you know what contingency is. We need to add that, and it's always 5% of your trip. 5% of your trip. So if we bring up our calculator, we'll have a look. So it's 3401, and we said 5%. So 170. Now what Reiner does is it rounds it up to 5 minutes minimum. Minimum 5 minutes. So in this case we took more fuel. There are ways of lowering the contingency fuel. There are some ways. There are some rules. For example, if you're en route alternate, and you can also do something called refiling and stuff like that, because now 5% in our case was only like 170 kilos. 5% on the trip of a transatlantic flight is a lot of fuel. A lot of fuel. Now, I'm sure if Wriggles is still in chat, I'm sure he could tell us, like, how much do you normally take on the 777 when you fly from, one of your standard routes? I'm sure it's like, I'm just guessing, but trip could be, I don't know, like 60 tons? Something like that? Now, 60 tons, 5% of 60 tons, that's quite a substantial amount of fuel. So, they have ways of reducing it. Now, for, like, flying in Europe, flying short haul, 737, 5% is okay. And then then contingency is added on top of our block fuel. So first, so far we have, if you look at our scratch pad in our FMC, so here is our scratch pad. We have 3.4, that's a trip, right? Now we need to add, so Virtual said you take about 50
Wind shear, wind shear,
Hey,
wind shear.
don't worry, I didn't forget. Hope you had a good flight time today. Virtual, thank you so much, man. You don't need to make this a common thing, like a recurrent thing. You don't have to, man, but I do appreciate it. Virtual's a really cool guy. Me and Virtual, we always hang out in the same streams all the time. Cody, my man, how you doing, man? How you doing? Right. So 3.4, that's a trip, and just like Virtual said, 50 to 60 tons, man. Just do the math. 5% of that is quite a substantial amount of fuel. So they will reduce their contingency fuel. We don't need to do it because it's not that much, but we need to add it though. So in Ryanair, the minimum is 5 minutes, so which will actually exceed the 5%. So we need to add another 0.2 there. So I just rounded it down. So what can we do now? Now we can go from one runway to the other runway, right? We cannot do a missed approach or anything like that, but we could go from one runway to another runway and land safely, and we would also have minimum of 5% extra. So we have minimum of 5% extra, and we could go A to B. But now we need to do some things, right? Now we're not finished, right? We need more fuel. We need more fuel. So again, look at our flight plan here. It says something. It says ALTN. That's alternate. MMX, that's Malmo in Sweden, 1.7 tons of fuel. 1.7 tons of fuel. What that entails is this will be from your missed approach point, the whole missed approach, and then your diversion, including the climb and any step climbs and the whole routing, and then you're from the top of climb to top of descent to your alternate, and then you'll do the arrival at your alternate, and then you'll be able to land safely at your alternate. That's what the alternate fuel is for. So we'll go ahead and add that. In this case, it's 1.7. So add that as well, 1.7. So guys, now we can go from one runway, and we could do a missed approach, and we could divert and land at another airfield safely. And we have 5% on top of our trip. Not on top of the alternate, not on top of the fuel reserve, but only on our trip. 5%. Maddox, why do you decide to add more fuel? So, bro, we'll get to it. It's further down our list of things to add. It's further down our list of things to add. Cody is sneaky beaky like. He's watching my stream at work. Is the math and physics hard? Mocha says in ATPL. I wouldn't say so. It's very basic. Like the most complicated thing would be some basic trigonometry. Oh my God! Today my English vamos. Yo no hablo inglés, huh? The alternate is always direct line or the routes? No. Hoover Cat, no. The alternate is not a direct route. The alternate is from your missed approach point, okay, doing the missed approach procedure, and then your route. So if you look at our flight plan, if we go further down here, we can see Echo Mike Sierra, Echo Sierra Mike Sierra. That's Malmo, and that's how we're gonna fly it. We're gonna fly to Risti, direct to Odne, whatever that is, Lima 975 to ALM, and direct to the VR, and then direct to the airfield. And we're going to be climbing up to flight level 250, and so on. So it's not direct. It takes real world into consideration, because in real world maybe you can't fly direct, maybe you have to do the thing, and so on. So no, it's not a direct route, but we need to add it. We need to add that on top of it, because now we can do our trip. We added 5% just for mama, you know, and we can also divert if we have to. Matix, yo soy de Chile. I don't actually speak Spanish. Like, I've lived in Spain for like 4 years, but my Spanish is out. I mean, it's horrible. Soy giri, you know? Soy giri. Future, no, don't worry about it. There's nothing on here. There's nothing on here which you... Nah, there's nothing on here, man. It's not actually a live flight plan or anything like that. This one is really old, but I'm just using it for today. But thanks for letting me know, though. The alternate is 200 miles away. Yeah, it's a different country. It's a different country. The OFPs are generated by computer system, which Lufthansa made. Do you also do PS in other languages besides English? Well, I will do them in Swedish. Swedish and English. That's all I master. Do you need a EU citizenship to work for Ryanair? No, we have Australians, South Africans. We have, I think we have literally people from all the world, Americans. But what you do need is a work permit to work unrestricted in all of Europe. Yeah, future. Thanks, though. I do appreciate it. So, just what the arguable pair said, you need unrestricted rights to live and work in Europe. Alright, so final reserve. That's the next on the list here. Final reserve. It's always half an hour. It's half an hour. And normally it's half an hour at 1,500 feet. Normally. But it could be different. There are some asterisks there, where for all intents and purposes it's half an hour, right? Half an hour, and this, guys, this fuel right here, the final reserve, is holy. It's like the Virgin Maria. You don't touch that, right? You are never, ever, ever supposed to go into your final reserves. If you do use your final reserves, what you have to do, guys, is call a mayday. If you use your final reserve fuel, right? So if you had to use these, like if you had to use this, you would have had to burn all your trip, all your contingency, and all your alternate fuel to go to your alternate. If you've burnt all of that, now you're going to go into your final reserve. And if you do use your final reserve, you need to go in HC and you need to declare a mayday. Not a pan call, a mayday. Mayday, mayday, mayday. That's how holy that fuel is. That is not to be touched. But it is there. It is there. Tom the pilot, when would you ever use your final reserve? Never. You would never use it. But then again, life is hard. Life is complicated. And it has happened that people would use that fuel. And the reason I'm stressing the whole Mayday thing is because, guys, there was last time we talked about fuel, this came up as well. There was some guy in America. They were landing in the States somewhere. I'm sure somebody could. I'm sure somebody knows what I'm talking about. An airplane landing into the States. I think they were from Mexico or something. The airline, could be wrong, or South America, or Chile, or I mean something. And they did a missed approach, and they did another go around, and they were holding, and the vectors, and the weather was shit, and so on. And then they started using their final reserve fuel. But what they said was they never declared a mayday. They just said like low fuel, we don't have much fuel, we're on low fuel. They never actually did say like mayday, mayday, mayday. Like, you know, we're using our final reserve, we're gonna go in and land, whether you like it or not. So, since that accident, you know, EU Ops, and I'm sure FAA is the same, they've stressed the whole thing about if you use final reserve fuel, or even if you suspect that you're going to use it. So, maybe you have like 10 tons on board, but no airfields around you, and you calculate that, listen, once I'm on the ground, I would have entered my final reserve fuel. It's a mayday call. Avianca, some guy, yeah, Avianca. Hey, yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, guys, you're way smarter than I am. Avianca Flight 52, there you go. There you go. They used their final reserves, and it did not end well. Now, guys, it does happen that airlines use their final reserve fuel, but imagine a lot of things have gone wrong. But it's there as another safety net. But, you know, you're not supposed to... It's like a final... It's the last source of safety between you and the engines flaming out. Okay? It's there... It's not meant to be used, but it's there for you. Alright? Same with like a fighter pilot. Like, he will have an ejection seat. It's not meant to be like used, right? He doesn't go in there like, screw it. Like, just pull... No, it's meant as a final resort. You'll pull that ejection handle. Same thing here. I have never touched the final reserves, no. Exactly, just what some guy says. It's like having one AC source. It's exactly the same thing. Well, it's not exactly the same thing, but it's the same thing because imagine, like, the airplane will fly fine. You have fuel, nothing will happen. It's just that you're down to half an hour, but all your systems will work. The engines are, you know, they're working fine. Same with if you're down to one source. If you're down to one AC source, if you remember from last year, we talked about AC and DC power. If you're down to one AC source, everything will work fine. You won't even notice it. Like, you know, oh, interesting. Oh, okay, we're down to one source. Oh, fine. But that is also, at the very least, a pan call. I would argue a mayday call. Again, because now you're down to your final safety net. Estik asks, so what about holding fuel? It includes into trip. So holding fuel is... So this is final service, not a holding fuel. Holding fuel is something else. And it's not called holding fuel. It's called extra fuel. But we're going to get into that, Estik. So we're going to get into that. For example, additional reserves, and then, okay, so the next thing, so we talked about final reserve. Additional reserves could be anything additional. So you might need additional reserves. In this case, it's 0, okay? This is our takeoff fuel at the moment. Okay, that's our takeoff fuel at the moment. If we add everything up in the scratch pad, you know, now we rounded it up and whatnot, but, so I'll go ahead and clear this. Now we have 6.6, right? That's our takeoff fuel. My dad was 800 kilos away from final reserves in storming Cathay when he went around a few times. I believe he had headwinds for the whole flight too. Oh my god. 800 kilos away from the final reserves. Oh, not good, man. Um, that's why it's important to, even if you're I mean, even if you have shitloads of fuel, but you're calculating that you're going to be approaching, even approaching, right? If you're approaching your final reserve, you need to go in HC and say low fuel, right? Low fuel, or, you know, some kind of, you need to tell ATC. And if you calculate, if you do your calculations again and you think, oh my god, I'm actually going to use my final reserve, doesn't matter how much fuel you have on the tanks, even if the tanks are full. But if you think you cannot land without using that, you need to call Mayday. Alright, so that's our takeoff fuel, right? So 6.6 tons. That's what we're going to take off with. But the fuel planning is not done yet. We need to add more things. Now, OPN is operational, and that's a thing just Reiner added. It means you don't need it, but Reiner always adds it anyway. It's between 5 and 2 minutes. It's just because, that's not just because fuel. So they've added it. So I'll take it, you know. I'll take it. But for you guys, that's a company thing. It's not part of our fuel planning normally. It doesn't mean anything. It's just operational fuel, something Reiner added to all our flight plans. So we have, as you see here, we have 80 tons just on top of everything. So, and then you add that, then you have the actual takeoff fuel. So 6.6. Alright, that's the actual takeoff fuel. So, Tech Adax says, this proves that Reiner does not take too little fuel. Reiner cannot take too little fuel. It's not Reiner's choice, right? Reiner cannot decide the fuel. There are rules and laws that govern how much fuel a pilot can take. As a commander, me as a captain and a commander, I can always take more, but I can never take less. So I could never dispatch with less than what it says here, with less than the takeoff fuel, right? I can never dispatch with 6.5. Well, okay, so if you discard that one, but even in that case, I could never dispatch with 6.5. I can never dispatch with 6.1, even if I wanted to, right? It's not up to me. It's not up to Reiner. That's what the rules say. That's what the law is. Okay? Raindog, yeah, you have pressures, right? There's no pressure. I don't know why people are under the, like, I don't know where this came from. I know there was some incident in Valencia, was it? But I read about that. Another airline, one of their damn engines flamed out because they were so low on fuel. That was a combination of a lot of things, bad weather and Spanish ATC. And people that have been with me in the stream, they know that Spanish ATC is one of those things I don't like. It's just media, man. It's just media. Absolutely. Just like, oh my god. G. Rick says, it's just media, man. There's no pressure, right? There's no pressure. And if you as a commander, or if you as a pilot feel you're pressured, that's why you have those 4 stripes, right? That's why you have all the stars and, you know, stars and stripes on your uniform. You have to be able to speak up, right? As a commander. End of the day, the lives of everybody in the airplane is in your hands if you're the commander. So it doesn't matter what the company says. It doesn't matter what the rules are. You're the commander. End of the day, final say is with you. Alright? So, no. There's no pressure, man. But, alright. I sidetrack. I tried to say another word, and then I just realized, oh, I can't actually pronounce that word. I digress. That's what I tried to say. Alright. So, that's our takeoff fuel. But to take off, we need to actually get to the runway, right? To get to the runway, we need to add our taxi fuel. So instance is 208 kilos. This fuel also will include our APU burn. Okay, so it will also include APU usage. And that will include engine startup, APU usage, the whole pushback, and then the taxi to the runway, entering the runway, and from the runway and toga onwards is trip fuel. this fuel we're gonna be should be burnt before we take off. So we don't actually calculate that in our takeoff fuel, because this fuel will be gone before we take off. Same with like landing weight calculations and stuff like that. That fuel will not exist anymore as we take off the airplane. They were probably easy pilots. I don't know, man. Like, say what you want. Even like tech addicts. Let me tell you something about extra fuel, right? This is again a common misconception people have. What is extra fuel? What is it meant for? What is it for? If I take, even if the weather is shit, even if it's the worst fucking day ever, if I take just what we said right now and don't add a single liter or kilo or pound or whatever you want of extra fuel, it makes no difference. The airplane is still safe. It is still safe. Why? Because we just talked about it. I have enough fuel to get to the runway, my taxi fuel. I have enough fuel to get to my destination. Okay, that's our trip. I have enough fuel to then divert to my alternate, which has to be landable, by the way. Okay, because of the rules, right? Because the way you choose your alternate. For example, if your alternate has a Cat 3 approach, doesn't matter. The weather needs to be Cat 1 or better. Okay, so as another safety margin. And if you only have an ILS, you need to be able to land on non-precision on your alternate. Okay, so we could even go there and then could divert and land our alternate. So even if the weather is shit, I have enough fuel to divert to an alternate where the weather is fine, where the weather is good, because I know, because I checked it beforehand. So what is the extra fuel for? Well, the extra fuel is really handy if I go to my destination and there is like a CB on top of the airfield. I know if I just wait like 10-15 minutes, that CB will move away. So it'll be airmanship to take extra fuel, right? The airmanship take at least 15 minutes of holding, so I'll be able to enter hold, wait for that weather to move away, and then land. Also, what a lot of people forget, like if I get to my destination and everything is fine, everything is good, I do the missed approach because I screwed up the approach. I do the go around. Now I might use my if I took minimum fuel, I'm now going to use my reserves, my alternate, my diversion fuel. Because remember, I said the diversion fuel is not in the trip. Like the go around and all that stuff is not in the trip. That's actually in your diversion fuel. But guys, what, you don't need to divert. You could dedicate your destination as your alternate as well once you get there. It would make no sense to, just because you're using your reserve fuel, it will make no sense to then divert 200 nautical miles, burn all that extra fuel, and land with less than it would to just do the missed approach and come back and land again. You have to use your head. You have to use some airmanship. And okay, why did we do a missed approach? Was it just because I was hot and high and just didn't configure it, in time? Okay, fine. Maybe it was a vehicle. Maybe there was something. But if there's like fog on the runway, maybe you should divert. So even if airlines take minimum fuel, they're all safe. Like, otherwise you'll have fuel emergencies every other day. Otherwise, you'll read in the newspaper every other week. You'll be some airline with the engine flame out due to fuel starvation. That doesn't happen, guys. Doesn't happen. Amber, can I simulate a 2-leg day with turnaround? I might do something like that, similar when Pilot Maria is on the stream. When Pilot Maria is here, we always do like a normal flight. So alternate fuel also includes extra for the alternate routes being vector due to traffic, weather. So it doesn't include it doesn't include contingency on top of it, but it does include like a full route. But contingency is not supposed to be burnt anyway, but it does indeed include the whole thing, the whole arrival and stuff like that. The climb out up to your top climb, cruise, again descent, arrival into your alternate. It does include that. What would you say the PMDG is close to real thing? Absolutely, I would say 90% plus. Nato Shake, what's my specs? Go down, scroll down on my stream, and there'll be a button you could press. Pilot Maria is in Palermo. You fly every day of the month, and if not, how much time vacation you have. So in Ryanair, you work 5 days, you're off for 4, and then you have 1 month off, and then you have 10 days to then dedicate. But 10 days with the 5-4 will turn into another month as well. All right, guys. Cool. So that's our block fuel. Now here comes the thing people have been asking me. PIC extra, piloting command extra. Here is where I, as a commander, will then add fuel. Here is where I, as a commander, will add fuel. For example, in our example, we talked about, like, let's say there are some cumulonimbus forecasted at our destination. Well, maybe I'll add a half an hour holding, or 20 minutes of holding, or 15 minutes of holding, whatever I feel is, required. I'm not adding it to be more safe. I'm adding it to increase the likelihood of me landing at my destination. Like, do you guys understand what I'm saying? Even real life pilots will get this wrong. Even real life pilots. So I really hope you guys understand what I'm talking about. So taking minimum is always safe, right? It's not the best choice, right? It's not a sound good airmanship choice to do it, because if you know there are some thunderstorms forecasted, it would absolutely be good to take some extra fuel, because then you could come to your destination, you could pick up a hold, and you could wait for that weather to move away or whatever it might be, and then you might divert. Same with, like, imagine you're going to Heathrow. Okay, so let's add some fuel because it's expected to be holding. So it's not less safe. You can still go, you still divert and all that stuff. You can still declare like low fuel. You can still go ahead of the queue and all that stuff. But if you know you're going to, like, let's say Madrid or something, you might add let's say 20 minutes on top of whatever you need, because then you have some fuel for ATC delays. Alright, so that's what the extra fuel is. And then once you add all that together, you get the total fuel, and that is what I will tell the fueler. That is what I will tell the fuel to put in the tanks. Alright, guys? So that's the fuel planning for us. Now, there are a lot of questions, and most of them are about, well, normally people ask me about this thing right here, or if PMDG is similar. But think after. Do you have any questions regarding fuel planning? Go ahead and ask them. And then once we get on cruise, I will do all other questions. Like, I promise, I will answer any questions. Why do airplane captains always make like, good morning, folks, climbing to 37. Tom Barker, have you been in my stream before? Wait until you hear one of my infamous captain's PAs. You'll love it. How much AC delays do I normally expect on, like, a daily trip? Not much to be honest with you, because in Europe we have something called CTOT, or slot times. So if there is a huge congestion at one airport, we won't actually take off. We'll be stuck on the ground instead. Whereas I think in the States they'll just go. There's like a huge queue and you just take off. But in Europe there's a flow management control, and they will control the flow of traffic to avoid ATC delays like that. And also to avoid oversaturation for, like, controllers and stuff. So main 90, how do you know how much fuel you use per time? Oh, you press engine, right? And you will have your fuel flow. Opa. Sorry, guys. There you go. So you have your fuel flow here. And then you can use this button right here, and if you go down, you see how much fuel you've used. And if you just leave it, you have the rate. So that's how you know how much fuel you're using. Richie D Gamer, roll on. PA announcement. Maybe later, guys. Maybe later. Camero, a reason of pick extra, because I felt like it. Absolutely. Why not, man? Just for mama. Absolutely. No problem. Don't you usually calculate backwards, like expected landing and arrival, then go around the holding, and then calculate from there on the whole trip backwards? Oh, it doesn't matter. You'll end up at the same place, right? Don't you usually do calculation backwards? Expect landing at alternate. I I don't know, man. It doesn't really matter. I mean, it should be the same fuel, right? Not sure, not sure. Maybe I'm misunderstanding you, man. Do you like French ATC? Oui, oui. The Frenchy, they are very good ATC controller. The problem is they always on strike, no? Every other week they go on the strikey strike. But yeah, otherwise I do like them. They're good. Absolutely. A320 first officer. In case of emergency, does the 737 fuel jettison feature? If not, what is the procedure for overweight landing? Say you're diverting. The 737 does not have fuel jettison. You cannot dump fuel. And why most airplanes will dump fuel is not because of the overweight landing, is mostly because of the missed approach. If the engine were to fail, they should still be able to climb out, right? The 737 can climb out and achieve the minimum missed approach procedure, sorry, missed approach gradient on single engine at the max takeoff weight. Now, there is a max landing weight for the 737, and the ones we have is 65.317 tons, or so that's our max landing weight. If we do exceed it, that's fine. Airplane will land fine. It will handle normally, and you can expect the airplane to flare normally. There won't be any differences. The VRF will be higher, obviously. Your VFly will be higher, but you will do an overweight landing inspection. So you'll have engineer, and they will do an inspection, and you'll be good to go. So we can land overweight. We do not jettison fuel. So if the QR says land as soon as possible, you just land overweight. But you use your head, like maybe it'll be better to pick up a hold, right? How much does it cost to become a Ryanair pilot? I think, well, you have to do your PPL, CPL, ME, IR, MCC, all that stuff. I don't know how much it costs nowadays. I think some first officer I'm flying with, they say they have like debts in the 100,000, 150,000 euros, something like that, crazy. But Ryanair itself, I think like 20,000, 25,000 for the type rating. Something like that. I'm not sure, man. You should ask Pilot Maria when she's here. Will you stream tomorrow? I'm going to sleep. I want to learn more about 737. YOLO Swaggins. Go ahead and check out my YouTube. And this will also be on Twitch afterwards. Tomorrow I might do an early stream. So if you're up nice and early, you can catch the early stream tomorrow. So yeah, no fuel dump. No fuel dump. Questions. All the calculation based on FMC entries and load sheet, or the aircraft know how heavy it is without telling you? So the airplane will not know heavy. I think the Airbus has a feature like that. The Airbus might know how heavy it is. It uses the angle of attack and stuff like that, and it calculates the weight, I think. The 737 doesn't know it, so you need to you'll tell it in the beginning of the day. You'll go to your performance page and you will tell it what the zero fuel weight is, and then it knows how much fuel it has, and then it knows what it weighs. But you need to tell it the zero fuel weight, so you cannot calculate it. Who's Paula Maria? Paula Maria is yeah, my girlfriend. Go ahead and check her out on Instagram. I think her handle is Pilot Maria, and that's why I call her Pilot Maria, because that's her handle. What time tomorrow? Tomorrow 8 Zulu, 9 Zulu, something like that. Yeah, 9 Zulu, something like that. Microphone keeps cutting out. Was that you that said that before as well? Argo pair. I'll post it on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter if you want to know when I do go live. Can you please show your flight plan fuel as a total fuel put into FMC? Danish Flipper, yes sir. That's exactly what we're going to be doing now. Last time I flew into Stansted, I don't know, week or two ago. Alright guys, so I'm going to go ahead and set up now. We talked about the fuel planning, and let me set up. Should I do screw it. So I'll set up for the departure here, and then we'll go ahead. God, how did you do that? FS actions? Fuel. Alright, so how much fuel do we say in then? So we need 6.818, so we can't take that much. Like we can't take 6.818. So we'll go run that up to 6.9. Let's make it 7 tons, right? And because the flight plan is really old. Let's add a little bit more. Let's add like 7. Let's call it 7.3. 7.3. So you see, I added fuel more than what I needed. 7.3. That's how much we'll take today. So I'll put it in there. 7.3. And then our payload. So your fuel is 55.2, which is good. Alright. So I'll go ahead and set this up. Echo Golf Sierra Sierra. Oops, I forgot to actually put it in there. Excuse me, guys. Echo Kilo Bravo India. Runway 22. Dep arrival, departure 22 is going to be a Clacton departure. Clacton for Sierra. Wrong runway. So for Romeo. Lima 620. Oh, wait a minute. It's not a Clacton, is it? No. Oh, sorry. I put Compton, but it's a Clacton departure. Sorry. Say Clacton 8 Romeo. There you go. To Lima 620. I've been flying for Ryanair for almost 9 years. Papa 44 Aratlo. Upper Papa 44 Samba. Okoko. Upper Zulu 303 Nerdu. Upper November 873. Tuska. November 873 to Micro. Dep arrival, ILS 27, legs. I'll just hook these up for now. We'll sort it out later once we get closer. Do you work for Ryanair or CrewLink? CrewLink is for cabin crews, and Ryanair, so Ryanair, CrewLink. So I work for a contracting agency by choice. I just hit 14k views. Lufthansa. Yes! Winning. I'm so happy, guys. I have some great news I'm going to share, and it's about the stream. And I'm really psyched. The community is amazing. I know I'm not the biggest streamer or anything, but I think my viewers are the best. No doubt. We might not be the biggest channel, I think, but we do have the biggest, the best audience. Let's put it that way. You guys are the best viewers in all of Twitch. Bam, I just said that, and I meant it. 144. Where are you going to? Did I say 37? Yeah, 37. And the landing airfield is 250. Quick overhead. Get our flight directors on. We'll go ahead and arm that one. And I see like every single flight sim stream I see that flies the 737, they always have this up. Boeing says blank the lower DU for takeoff to avoid like unnecessary information which you don't need. So always blank the lower DU. And also, if you blank it, there's a pop-up feature which will, if there's an exceedance, the lower DU will come back and you'll say, hey, why is that lower DU up there? And then you can look and you'll see the exceedance. Whereas if you keep it, you know, even if something exceeds, it might be really hard to spot it because there are no warnings. There's no master caution, anything like that. There's no ECAM system on the 737. So go ahead and lower DU, blank the lower DU. Excuse me. A320 first officer. Oh man, don't be snobbish, guys. You need to be humble and down to earth. But you guys are the best, seriously. How many hours do I have for Ryanair? Man, I haven't done my logbook in so long. I have like, I don't know, 8,000, 9,000 hours in total. What's airport is the hardest approach for you? Trifex, I mean, hardest approach, the thing is like all approaches, they have to meet certain criteria, right? So they're all safe. Now some of them might be more fun than others. Let's put it that way. Like for example, circling into oh, what's that airport? I used to love going there when I was a first officer. I always now when I go there as a captain, I always let the first officer land because the circling, you'll make a right turn, so it's better for him to fly it. But it was into France, and you do like a first you do the like a non-precision, and then you circle. But then once you're on the other side, you have to do a 4-degree glide path thingy to get down there. And the runway's short, so it's quite challenging and fun. Dortmund in Germany is fun because that's the shortest runway we fly to with the 737 in my airline. It's 1,700 meters, so it's always automatic max, full reverse, flat 40, good fun. Marseille is fun if you do like the sidestep thing, because again it's a 4-degree glide path, but then the runways are like a little bit offset, so you need to go down even faster. So it's fun. They're fun approaches. Z-Muffin Man, will you start a YouTube channel, do an NGX5 with like correct SOPs things? Z-Muffin Man, check out my streams with Pilot Maria. They are like SOP flights. At least we try to. They will be from Cold and Dark, Taxi. You don't want to see me Taxi, but anyway, for shits and giggles, go ahead and watch me Taxi, and then we'll take off. We'll do all the SOPs and stuff. So absolutely go check that out. Tomorrow I have my exam flight planning. Oh man, I would love to see you there, man. I hope I'll fly with you one day, bro. Maddox, thank you so much, man. Maddox has been with me a long time. He's always in the chat, and I appreciate it, man. I really do. I really do. Rom Ciampino. Rom Ciampino is amazing if you do. Now, they've changed it since, but before there was like a proper circling thing if you had to land on the runway. Since then, now it's like a offset VOR thing, and then you just break off from the approach and then you land. So Ciampino is great fun as well, absolutely. Was it Cambrai? No, it was somewhere else. It was somewhere else, man. Hoovercat, it was somewhere else. Where do you get the Via route from? Via? Huh? Sorry, man. You have to Danish. Just ask me that again. Where do you get the Via RT from? Yeah, just I'm sorry, man. I don't get the question. Oh, Virtual, you're leaving, man. Virtual, I'll see you tomorrow, hopefully. I'll definitely see you in one of the streams. Thank you so much for the donation, Virtual. It means the world to me. Seriously. I know it's like I know you do it a little bit for fun, but seriously, I do appreciate it. It means a lot to me, more than you can imagine. Hey, Kian, how you doing, man? How you doing? Qantas, have fun in school, man. Alvaro, oh, that's cool, man. Awesome. It makes me happy that you enjoy my stream. So, guys, let's go ahead and get airborne. Otherwise, we'll be sitting here, and I'll get banned from Twitch for inactivity or something. Okay, so Danish, yeah, when you put on the route data, yeah, when you put in the route data, you were on 2 pages. Oh, where I find these from? Oh, from the flight plan. From the flight plan. I think there's no, this was an old flight plan I had lying around. I think one of the flight streamers will point you at the right place to go. There's like some website you go and you put in your destination and arrival, and it will give you this. I'm not sure which site that is. But there's a website. You put in like where you want to go to where, and it will give you like a proper route. So there, that's where you get it from. Cardiff? Yeah, I've been to Cardiff, man. Cardiff Aviation, man. It's even in your name. Yeah, I've landed there. I've landed there. Yeah, absolutely. Alright, sorry man, I'll go ahead and permit. There you go, Chartage. Okay guys, let's go get it and get airborne. Flaps, 1, 2, 5. So flap, the stab trim, go ahead and do something like that. Takeoff page, and I think we're good to go, guys. Oh, that should be runway heading. Like normally you would set up for the departure as well, with all the VRs and stuff. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and spool up. 40%, that's what you're looking for. Once it's nice and stabilized, go ahead and press toga. Make sure the thrust is set before the N1 here goes to throttle hold. Once you're at throttle hold, the auto throttle will stop working. It will just freeze. First call is going to be at 80 knots. 80 knots, low speed, high speed, guys. Above 80 knots, you only reject for very few things. Next up is going to be our V1, that's our decision speed, and then we'll start to rotate. Oh, way slower, way slower. Not that fast, way too fast. And then once you have positive rate of climb on the altimeter, you go ahead and call for gear up. And then roll mode, LNAV, MB, and there we go. Like that takeoff rate, like the climb rate or whatever you call it, the rotation was way too fast. What you're looking for is about between 2 and 3 degrees per second. So it should take you a good 4 or 5 seconds to get up there. It should take you a few Mississippis, right? If you know De Reagan, a Spanish YouTuber, he's part of Virtual Ryanair. I was asking if you could depart with flap 1 in Ryanair. Yes, we can't depart with flap 1. But it's very unusual, just like some guy says. Like 99% of the departure will be done with flap 1. So flap 1, yes. Flap 2 is not actually a takeoff flap. Flap 1, 5, 15, and 25. That's what I've taken off with. But like 99+ % of the departures will be done with flap 5. The reason it's flap 5 and not flap 1 is the tail clearance. So when you rotate, the tail clearance with flap 1 is 30 centimeters or something. So basically a little bit more than the size of my pen. No joke. No joke. It's like, what, like this much? That's like 30 centimeters. That's the tail clearance with flap 1. With flap 5, it's about like, I would say like 50 centimeters, something like that. So it's not much, right? So, but the performance difference between flap 1 and flap 5 is not much. It's negligible. So that's why the most of them are done with flap 5. Where do you do a flap 25 takeoff? And Scavsta, I did one. You should Super Donkey said, I heard you should never have your flap set at 2. That's not true. That rhymed. Never set your flap to 2, bro. No, you could use flap 2, absolutely. It's an unusual flap setting, but you could use it. A common typical case scenario would be if 8C tells you to fly a specific speed and it's between flap 1, but like let's say it's around flap 2 speed, just a little bit below flap 1 speed, just a little bit below, but you don't want to go flap 5 because of the extra drag, you might go flap 2. I doubt you can get back now, but where can you? How come you don't enter the CG value? You could actually get back there, Rob. There is a way back. Go to initRef. If you don't know how to get somewhere, always press initRef. Then go to index, and from here you can access all the pages. So in your case, it would be the takeoff page. So index, go to takeoff, and here you have it. Now the reason I didn't enter the CG was, well, mainly because I was lazy and I didn't really do a good job taking off. I didn't do the checklist or anything. But secondly, it's because of habit. And it's a company procedure in my airline not to put in the CG. Reason being, if I change the CG, now, okay, it'll be better. It'll be better visible once I'm at cruise, right? So once I'm at cruise, I might show it to you. But that will change our amber bands and will change our optimum and max climb and stuff like that. What my airline does, it just has the worst CG ever. It has the worst CG. Therefore, we are always on the conservative side. Always. So we always have the most amount of conservatism. Is that a word? That's not a word. But it's just to give ourselves even more margins. So our amber bands are actually way more restrictive because they're based on like worst case scenario. Absolute worst case. And then the trim, we use our load sheet to figure out the trim. Yeah, VNav. Yeah, I got it, bro. I got it. I'm just yapping away. And I guess you're going to be complaining about the gear soon as well, so I'll go ahead and do that as well. Just for not the gamer. Group flight. I would love to do that one day, man. Robbie, what altitude is the right, what altitude to retract the flaps? There are two standard kind of departures, and they're called noise abatement procedure noise abatement departure. Noise abatement, NADP, noise abatement departure procedures. 1 and 2. NADP number 1, you will climb with your, basically whatever you had on the MCP, so it'll be V2 plus 20. Climb with that up to 3,000 feet above the ground. Okay. Once at 3,000 feet above the ground, you'll go ahead and retract the flaps. So you'll bug up, meaning bring your fly speed here, bring that to up speed, and then start getting the flaps up. Noise abatement procedure part number 2 is to keep the flaps and fly V2 plus 20 up to 1,000 feet above the ground, and then you'll retract the flaps. But then once you got the flaps up, you'll keep flying that up speed until you're at 3,000 feet. And then once at 3,000 feet, you'll go ahead and accelerate to your climb speed. So at 1,000 or 3,000, depending on what kind of departure you're doing. What pitch degree do you use for takeoff? So what you're looking for, don't ever follow the flight directors during your rotation, okay? Rotate the airplane between 2 and 3 degrees per second, just like I said, okay? And then, let me get rid of this. I don't know what the autopilot is doing. And then, pitch up towards 15 degrees. So, 15 is this line right here. 15 degrees. Put it right there in that big line between 10 and 20, obviously. Put your pitch there, and once you're at 15, then go ahead and follow the flight directors and pitch. And if you don't have the flight directors, if you're flying without the flight directors, pitch whatever pitch you need to maintain a V2 plus 20, which will be a white bug speed on your airspeed indicator. Does 6 seem legit? Yeah, seems legit, I would say. Depends on the wind and stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Tech at X. How do you decide on acceleration altitude? It depends on the airport you're at. Okay, so you need to check your plates. So, do I have a plate? I don't think I have a plate. Okay, it'll be in the plate. So if you have Jeppesen, it'll be in the 10-something pages, and it'll be about the description. Go ahead and find like departure or takeoff, and it'll tell you which noise abatement departure they prefer. A320 for services in Airbus, you follow flight directors with the SRS. It helps maintain V2 plus 10 or 15. So in the Boeing, unless you have the head-up display and stuff, they have some things like that. But without the head-up display, Pitch to R15 to follow flighters. The flighters will command V2 plus 20, which is your speed. But don't follow flight initially. Pitch up to initial attitude, and once you're at the attitude, then follow flight directors. Alright guys, so basically if you just joined the stream, today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be climbing up here, and once we're at cruise, we're going to be talking about the fuel system. We already covered fuel planning. Tech Addis, I'm legit reading 400 pages on physiology in the UK to revise for our VATSIM exam. If you have any questions, man, just let me know. I'm here to help, man. I'm here to help. Robbie, thank you so much for joining me, though. Super Donkey's also doing it. Hi, good luck to you guys. If you have any questions, let me know. No, I've never done like a VATSIM exam, but I do have a like a real one. Yeah, cap 41. Absolutely. 41.3 even, says Tech Addicts. Go, yeah, absolutely. So there is the cap, and if you're interested, go ahead and check that out. If I ever land in Leeds, yes, many times. Many times. I have Orbix now, by the way, guys. Thanks to the awesome donations I've had. I bought Orbix and Orbix Vector. So base and Vector. Oh man, I've actually never had a chance to actually look at it. I don't know how to navigate the lock spot. How do you then? Looks beautiful. Maddox control, yeah, one traffic. Maddox, let me know when you control next time. I'll join. Space plus mouse bar, yeah, but it goes all crazy because of this damn Easy Dog thing. Easy Dog is great, but it's so damn buggy. So damn buggy. GT7, how you doing anyway, man? How is life, my friend? Sazbaki. Am I saying that right? No, Sizakbal. Sorry, my friend. I didn't mean to make fun or anything, but I'm shit when it comes to pronouncing names. In Ryder, you work 5 days and you're off for 4. So 5-4, 5-4, 5-4. It's quite easy. Quite easy. And a month before, you'll see like all the flights. Kind of topic. Is it easy living in Mali because of your like Rob Speed asked? I live in Spain and I don't speak Spanish. I speak enough to get by, right? I know how to ask for like the bill. I can't order food. I know how to say beer. And so, you know, I'll survive. But I can't have conversations with folks. Have you ever flown the 400? No, man. Only the NG, Alvaro. Only the NG. The 400 is very similar to the 800 in size. Obviously, the instrument is different, but they have the old stuff. Freddie Mercari. How do you decide which flap to land with? Try to land with flap 30 if you can. If not, use 40 for performance. Performance might be not just the runway, but maybe the exit you want to make might warrant a flap 40 landing. But try 30 because it gives you the best fuel economy and noise profile. Flap 30 being. So flap 30 is a little bit better. Can I post a link from the VA? Of course, man. Let's see. Permit. Oh man, I don't know how to permit you because I can't do that exclamation point. There you go, man. I had to copy paste your name, damn it. Look at these. Wellington, New Zealand, LAX. What, is that dangerous? Gibraltar is beautiful. If you ever come down to Malaga, do like a day trip to Gibraltar. It's nice. Go ahead and go up to the mountains and the monkeys are there and stuff. Flown air generation recently? No, man. It's been really bad. Me and another captain we're trying to organize something. We're gonna go up flying again. I used to do a lot of aerobatics, but man, time. Time. What's your headset? What is your headset? It's very nice. Yeah, I use a Lightspeed Zulu. I mean, this is not a Lightspeed. This is just normal, whatever, music headsets. But like when I work, I use Lightspeed Zulu. They're good. I like them. They are good. Yeah, guys, for everybody that's new, welcome. We're gonna climb up now. So I'm just taking some few questions. But once we get airborne, we talk about the fuel system. Now we already covered the fuel procedures, like fuel planning and stuff. But we're going to be talking about the fuel system of the 737. And then we're going to do a failure, and the failure is really, really interesting. It has happened in many airlines. Many airlines have had this problem with the 737, and real pilots have screwed it up. And it's just going to show. It's just going to show how important it is to think, use your head, analyze the problem, use all the resources you have before you actually action. And I'm curious to see what the actual checklist does say about this failure, because Boeing has since changed the checklist just because of people getting this thing wrong. So quite an interesting failure regarding the fuel system. Do you bring your own headset to work? I mean, the airplane does have headsets, but I prefer to have my own. Including Ryanair? I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it happened in Ryanair, man. But it has definitely happened in other airlines, because Boeing has come out and changed the procedures. So I know for a fact it does happen. In Ryanair, the training is really good, especially when it comes to this kind of thing. So hopefully no, but I don't know, man. Hopefully after this stream you will never do that mistake anyway. So Super Donkey, man, thank you so much for stopping by. I hope to see you on the next stream, Super Donkey. I don't think I've seen you in the chat before, but if not, welcome. Welcome, man. What is the index to lock? This thing is what the engineers use to like actually lock the whole thing, the whole overhead panel. This comes down. The whole thing comes down. It latches to this thing right here, and there are a few of them. But yeah, you unscrew those, and you can actually lift down the overhead panel and reveal the guts. Alvaro, man, good luck tomorrow. And if you have any ATPL related questions, if something is confusing you, whatever, and maybe you don't understand the answer, just go ahead and whisper me, and I'll go ahead and I'll try to help you as much as I can. But good luck to you, man. Good luck to you. And don't be shy. Like if you have any questions, I'm here to help, man. Doesn't have to be about the 737. Could be like ATPL questions. Or, maybe the missus give me a hard time. I'm here for you guys. I'm here for you guys. So, good luck, man. DB Voider, how long have you been streaming for? Only seen you for a week. I've been streaming for like 2 weeks, maybe. A week and a half, 2 weeks. I'm pretty new at the whole streaming. That's why I do make a lot of mistakes and stuff. And I'm equally new to the flight simulator. So I've only done the flight simulator thing for like 2 weeks as well. So I'm really new. But I'm learning. And I'm learning together with you guys, and I couldn't ask for a better community. Tell you what, on that note, I'll give you the amazing news, because we're talking about my stream. The amazing news, guys, you cannot believe it. Twitch emailed me and said, listen, we want to partner you. So they have partnered my channel. Now I have to sign some things and da da da, but the channel is now officially approved for partnership, meaning that I can have subscribers, meaning that I will always have encoding. And you know why, guys? Seriously, you know why? It's not because I have a lot of viewers or anything. There are streamers out there, flight simulator streamers, that are twice the size of me, and they're way bigger than me, guys. We're small. Like, I have 125 viewers, and then the other guys come on and they have like 300, 500 viewers. But bro, guys, let me tell you why they actually approved me. They said the community you have and the interaction you have with your audience is so good. You guys made this happen, and you made it happen by being involved, asking questions. You know, it's like a community which I could never have asked for, and it's been amazing and unbelievable. And it's not because of the amount of viewers, it's because of you guys. No other streamer has such good guys. I think I am fucking fortunate. I think I have the best viewers ever. Seriously, and I mean that. I don't think anybody has better viewers than I have. And together, we're going to make this channel grow. We're going to make it amazing. It's going to be a place to learn and have fun as well whilst doing it. So that's my amazing news. Thank you so much for all the support, all the donations I've had, like all the followers. I don't know how many followers we're looking at now, but like 1.6, something like that. Like, guys, it's been amazing. It has been amazing, and the journey is just starting. Just starting, guys. So yeah, thank you all. Thank you all, guys. Seriously. That the only guys again. The only reason they approved my partnership thing was not because of the viewers. It was because of you guys. I wish I could repay the debt. We're gonna have more giveaways, guys. So we've done it a recurrent theme. If you're new, if you just followed, every time Pilot Maria is on the stream. So Pilot Maria is another real life first officer. She also works for Ryanair. She happens to be my girlfriend, but when she comes on the stream, end of the stream, we always do a giveaway. And so far, we have given away 2 gift cards. No, 3 gift cards in total. In total, we've given away like 100, so 200, like almost $200. Okay, Australian dollars, because that's what the flight sim store uses. But we're gonna be that's gonna be a a recurrent theme every time Maria's back, and that's my way of giving back to you guys. And then once I have subscriber, is it called subscriber? Yeah, once I have subscribers, we'll give them some perks and all that stuff to just to make sure that everybody feels a part of the community. So yeah, awesome. Josh Gibbs, thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I've joined your TeamSpeak a few times there, Josh, but people have always been AFK. Yeah, she's based in Palermo. Let's see. Sandro says, I want to be a pilot when I'm 15. I play flight simulator since I'm 10. Many payware. Ba, ba, ba. Of course you could make it as a pilot, man. Sandra, of course. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Don't let anybody tell you. Of course you could make it as a pilot. Captain, where do you get your ATPL? Alvaro, my ATPL is from Sweden. I did all my training, everything I did in Gothenburg. It's a city in Sweden on the west coast. So yeah, that's where I did. But that was many years ago. If you want more up-to-date, more current things, like when it comes to education, like initial training and stuff, I think Pilot Maria is better to ask her. All right, guys. Awesome. So I'm so psyched. Partnership. And one day I hope I'll be as big as the other streamers, like the flight sim streamers. One day. We're getting there, though. Again, doesn't matter because I am so sure. I can with confidence say my viewers are the best viewers. easily, hands down. Right, guys. Yeah, exactly. Like this Bellins guy. When Bellin streams, he has like twice the amount of viewers, or even 3 or 4 times the amount of viewers. Sander, what's the cost of a compiler? I don't know, man. I don't know. It was over a decade ago.
Wind shear.
Hey, Ray, donated. Congratulations on your acceptance of partnership. Keep on doing what you do. Ray's a fucking hero. Now, Ray has been with me a long time as well. So I really appreciate it, man. He has been with me a long time as well. He's always active in chat and he asks questions, and I really appreciate it. So, Ray, thank you so much for your donation. €5. Thank you so much. That'll go towards the stream, making this place even bigger. Thank you so much for congratulating me. But you should just be congratulating everybody, because hopefully you will be able to make this stream a bigger place. So how long does it take to renew your ATPL? You don't need to renew your ATPL. It's for life nowadays. Since JAR ops or JAR FCL whatever turned into EU ops, it's for life, just like in the States. But otherwise it would be for 5 years normally. So the sub button, I don't know, like I spoke to the Twitch guys, said it'll take a few days. Josh Gibbs, oh man, you're incredible, well spoken, well learned, best streaming flight sim. Josh, wow, what kind words. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much.
Wind shear.
Hey, Trevor.
Wind shear.
Trevor Hawk, also another guy. He's not the first time he's here. Congratulations on Twitch partnership. First beer of meat. Thank you so much, man. Ah, €2. Thank you so much, man. Wow, I appreciate it. I really do. That is so kind of you. I don't know what to say. I'm speechless, man. Trevor is a guy that has also been with me a long time, and I think he joined me. When was that? It was like so today. Man, he's been with me. He's been with me a while now. It's like a week, 2 weeks now, Trevor. So this is a year. I know you think it's not that long, but I haven't been streaming that long, and he has donated a lot of money before as well. So Trevor, first beer on you. I'm working tomorrow, but man, once I land, I will have a celebratory beer, and I'll be on you. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. I've never flown in the States, Alvaro. Never. I'd love to, though. Love to. Guys, wow. Okay, enough about me. Enough about that. Fuel system. Guys, let's talk about the fuel system. So, what uses fuel? The engines and the APU. 3 things. Engines and APU. 2 engines, 1 APU. And they're all pressure fed. So it's pressure fed to the engines. And normally what happens is that the engines will be pressure fed by the center tanks first. So if you turn on all the pumps, and if you were to have fuel in the center tank will primarily feed the engines. Now, how does that work? Because if all the pumps are on, shouldn't it just be equal amount of fuel coming from all the tanks? No. Reason being is that the center tank. No, I forgot to ask the engineer. It was on my list. I wanted to ask one of our technicians and ask him how much of a difference.
Wind shear. Wind shear. Wind shear.
Cambro! No sub button yet, so considers a down payment. Man, thank you so much, Camero. Wow. Down payment on a sub button. Man, you don't need to. You don't need to subscribe. Like, everything will be the same. When we do the giveaways. Doesn't matter if you subscribe or not. If you subscribe, I think you'll get like a bonus or something. We'll do something, obviously, but you'll still be able to win all the giveaways, and I'll still answer everybody's questions. But we need to get like a fun. Oh, I'm looking forward to it because I can get one of these fun things if you're a subscriber. You know, the next to your name. That'll be so cool. That'll be so cool, man. Spazbakai, how do you decide to stream? Well, you see a computer behind me? I built that computer. I was all excited, and I started to play some. I wanted to play some games and stuff. And I started streaming, and like nobody really watched me. So I thought, screw it. I'll do what I think is fun. I'll do it. Playing game was fun, but okay, if I want to stream and I want to share something with people, this was my way of giving back. And I've told this story many times. I keep it really short, but when I was a kid, there was like there's a website in Sweden, and you could write and you could like give questions to real pilots, and if you were lucky, they would answer, and you could read their answers on the website if you enter a question. When I was a kid, that's what I did, and if my question got answered, I was over the moon. I was so excited. I was so happy. So I remember that, right? And this is my way of giving back to the community. Now, I'm a real pilot, and I love to answer everybody's question, because a lot of the people that fly the flight simulators, a lot of them are young. They're kids, and one day they have aspirations and goals of being like real pilots. And I'm here to answer those questions. I'm here to help you out in any way I can to give back to the community. Now, when I first started streaming, I didn't know what a great of a community this was. I thought I'll have like a few viewers, and maybe someone would appreciate it, but I didn't know how generous, how giving, how lovable this community actually is. So yeah. Um right. So the center fuel panel, I was gonna ask the engineer how much, like what's the difference in amount of PSIs between the main tanks and the center tank. I forgot to ask him, but they work at a way higher output pressure. So the fuel goes from the main tanks, goes through these lines here, okay, which you can see, and into the engine. The engine is right here. Okay, that's the engine. Now it also goes through the center tanks, through here, and also into the engine. Because these pumps work at a way higher output pressure, they will actually force their way through the line, and the fuel from the main tanks won't be used. So this will be an acceptable configuration. So you don't need to turn off the pumps like this if you just want to use the center. You can keep all the pumps on. Okay, so that's how it works. So that's why the center, normally the engine will be fed by the center tank first. And then once that's done, they will start using the main tanks. There are check valves scattered around the fuel system to make sure that there's proper direction and flow of the fuel. And it will also prevent fuel from going from one tank to another. For example, the fuel shouldn't be able to go from the center tank back here and into the left tank or anything like that. So there are check valves to prevent that. Now the fuel pumps, all of them, are AC powered. Guys, just let me just have a look at our progress here. Okay, that's good. So they are AC powered, and they're cooled and lubricated by the fuel. Okay, so that's how it works. The fuel itself works both as a lubrication and as a coolant. And that's exactly how the pumps in my computer work. They're called D5 pumps, and it's actually the fluid that cools it and lubricates it as well. Same story with the 737. Those pumps work the same. And because they're AC powered, you need AC power obviously for the pumps to work. So if you lose all AC, none of your pumps will work. If, for whatever reason, like normally you'll fly with like this, right? The center tanks will be on, and once the center tank is depleted, in the new airplanes, once you get the low pressure light, you get a master caution fuel, and those pumps will shut down automatically. But you need to move them off anyway. It doesn't happen in the old 737 NGs, but the new ones will automatically shut down. The old ones, they were really, you had to turn them off manually, and you had to turn them off on time, because remember what I said, the fuel is what cools the pump. But if there's no fuel, those pumps would overheat. So there's not a problem on the new ones. Now, here's a interesting question, guys. Now, we have covered it before, but maybe somebody doesn't know. So, right now, we have fuel in our main tank. Fuel is going from the pumps. This is the tank, here are the pumps. It goes through the lights into the engine. What would happen if I turn off the pumps? What would happen to the engines? Cody, yes, I got partner. I got partnered, man. I got partnered. Yeah, bro. Thanks to the community. Thanks to my viewers. Not thanks to the amount of viewers, but thanks to the quality of the viewers. Just like Ray says, they will suction feed. They will suction feed. So notice how the engines don't actually shut down. Now, in the real airplane, it wouldn't behave this way. Like you would. This would be a problem. This would cause problems. So when the main fuel pump is the pressure is low, each engine can draw its own fuel through a it's called a suction feed line, which will bypass the pump. Okay, but as the airplane climbs and gets to cruise, there's air stored in the fuel. So from the fuel tank, sorry, from the fueler, he pumps in the fuel, and there's air molecules in the fuel. As you climb up, the pressure decreases, and that air will be released, and that air could get stuck in the suction feeding tubes and the lines, and that could actually cause the engines to flame out. Well, flame out would be worst case scenario, but you would definitely have, at high altitudes, you would definitely have thrust deterioration, and you could be a flame out as well because of the fuel flow restriction, because there might be air in those lines. Now, eventually, as the flight progresses, so we've been airborne for quite a while now, for like an hour or so, even less, but still, as the flight progresses, that air will eventually, it will eventually disappear, and once it has disappeared, the engines will be capable of suction feeding at cruise power, on cruise, no problem. But it does take time, right? And there's no way of telling how long it takes, because it depends on the altitude, fuel temperature, what kind of fuel you used, and so on. Alvaro, Captain, I'm leaving. I need to get some rest. See you tomorrow, man. Hey, bro, thank you so much for stopping by, Alvaro. I hope you enjoyed the stream. See you later, man. Take care. Cody, holy shit, that's awesome. It is, man. It is definitely. So there are some like formalities. I have to sign some things and stuff, but hopefully I'll be get that sub button and we'll be partnered. Oh, Cody, we definitely need to be making emojis, you and me, man. I have to figure out what I want. It'll be something fun. I would like something fun, man. Nick the Boss Haas, hey yo, how you doing, man? Welcome to the stream. So, Pure Passion asks, what happens in case of a flame out? Now, if there is an uncommanded thrust reduction, okay, the engines, sorry, the igniters will auto ignite, and they will try to recover. If that doesn't work, the engine will shut down, obviously, but you could relight it. No problem. But you don't want to end up there. Like, you don't want to have the pumps off. So, for example, guys, how do you crossfeed? How do you take fuel from that tank and put it to the other tank? Okay, the way to do that is through the crossfeed. And once we talk about the crossfeed, we'll talk about the dangers of crossfeeding fuel. So the engine fuel manifolds are interconnected and by the crossfeed. So there's a crossfeed that connects those pipes, and that valve is DC operated from the battery bus. So it will always be available to you. Even if you lose DC, you could still use the crossfeed. Reason being that even if you lose all AC, or even if the pumps fail, so okay, losing all AC will be quite drastic, but imagine if you lose all the pumps on one side because of a failure or whatever, and one of the engines failed, you need those pumps to transfer fuel. You need that crossfeed to transfer fuel from one side to another, because you can't use that fuel on the side where the engine failed. That's why the crossfeed is DC operated, so it will always work. So the fuel can then be provided to main tanks using the crossfeed from both sides. So how do you actually crossfeed? To crossfeed the fuel, the first thing you need to do is to open the crossfeed. You see this light here? It initially goes bright, bright. Bright means the valve is not in the commander position. So the commander position open, it's closed. You see it's moving, it's moving, it's moving, and once it is in the commander position, it'll turn dim. It will turn dim. Bright, not in the commander position. In this case, it will go out. It's not in the commander position, it's moving to full open, and it'll be dim. Okay? So now the crossfeed is open. Now these, they are now connected, so the fuel could go through here, but it won't. The reason it won't is because the fuel pumps are outputting fuel at a similar pressure. Not 100% similar, because the pumps, you know, one was made on Monday, another one was made on Friday, and so on. But if they are, like in the simulator, for sure, they are like a similar output pressure. I'm just going to go ahead and pause the simulator because we are approaching the top of the sand. So the fuel will just kind of go into the engine. They won't actually crossfeed. So to crossfeed the fuel, if I want to take fuel only from number 2 engine, sorry, from the 2 tank, I will turn off the pumps here. There you go. I will turn off those pumps. So what happens now, guys? Well, just look at the schematic of our fuel panel. Fuel will go from the number 2 tank through the forward and aft pump, through this line, into the engine. Fine. Into number 2 engine. But it would also go through this pipe right here, through the crossfeed, into the other engine. These pumps aren't working, so there's nothing that restricts it from going that way. And you will now balance the fuel, or transfer fuel. Well, you're not actually transferring fuel. You're just both engines are now using fuel from one tank. So you're not physically moving fuel from one side to another. You're not taking fuel from number 1 tank, putting number 2 tank, or vice versa. It's just the engines are using fuel from one tank. Okay? Now, guys, what will happen? So I told you guys, you need to open the crossfeed first. Don't turn off the pumps first. Because if you turn off the pumps first, we're going to be in that situation again, where the engine not being suction fed. Thrust deterioration, flame out at high altitudes. So you need to open the crossfeed first. You need to open the crossfeed first, because now there's no problem. The fuel will go through the crossfeed into the engine. To then return the panel to a normal state, don't close the crossfeed first. Turn on the pumps first. Okay? Because you always want to make sure that the engines are pressure fed. So the pumps are on, then you'll go ahead and close the crossfeed valve. Bright, out. Now, would it be a risk of flameout like you mentioned before, Mets? There's no risk of flameout if you do it in the correct order. So the correct order, again, if you want to, you're not technically transferring fuel, but one engine will use fuel from one tank. Open the crossfeed first. Okay, once the crossfeed is open, guys, it doesn't matter if these pumps are off. It's fine, because the output pressure from these two pumps will be enough to both feed number 2 engine and go through the crossfeed and feed number 2 engine. Both engines are now being pressure fed. It is exactly the same as having all the pumps on. Bam, just like this. And imagine if I had fuel in the center tank. It wouldn't matter if I turn off the pumps or not. If I could turn off these pumps if I had fuel in the center tank, because it doesn't matter, because the output pressure is enough to feed the engines. And in this case, the output pressure from the center tank is enough to actually overcome the pressure of the main tank pumps. So if you do it in the correct order, the order I told you, there will be no chance of flame out. How do you have before a flame out? How much time you have? I don't know. I've never actually ended up there, but I would bet it happens quite instantaneously. As soon as you do something stupid like that, the engine, you will have thrust deterioration and stuff like that. So yeah. Now we know how the crossfeed works. We know how to balance fuel. In the fuel, in the engines, where you mount the engines, just at the wing, where the engines are mounted, that's where your fuel shutoff valves are. The fuel shutoff valves are visible here. These two lights. There are two of them. One is the engine valve, and one is the spar valve. It's just redundancy, right? It's just redundancy. Again, redundancy. Both of them are DC powered. One is powered by the hot battery bus. That one will always be available. The other one is powered by the battery bus. That one will be available as soon as you have battery power. And how do you operate the fuel valves? Through the start levers. So if you move those cutoff, that will close both valves. Or if you pull the fire handle. Pulling the fire handle will also close the valves. Okay? So two valves for each engine, DC powered, one by the hot battery bus will always be available, one by the battery bus. To use them, start lever to cut off or pull the fire handle. Drunken smiley, this isn't a good way. Thanks, man. It's probably too much TV, man. Too much TV. Have you ever had since you're a lot of error possible? Yeah, absolutely. Pure passion. There are a lot of human error, you know, let's put it this way. But that being said, I mean, think before you do things. Does the APU have a similar system with the cutoff valves? Yes, it does. APU to close the fuel valve, pull the APU handle. I mean, that's not normal, right? That's not how you shut off the APU. Or you move the APU thing to off, and then the computer will do an auto shutdown sequence of 1 minute. Will run the thing at idle, and then it will shut off the fuel. How much difference in fuel tank would you? You could do it whenever you wanted to, but I would say 150 kilos. Yeah. 150, 200 kilos. But before, I mean, but you need to be absolutely 100% sure of what you're doing, because maybe there's a fuel leak. There is a checklist for it. Just go ahead and go to your QRH and fuel imbalance, and then you can go ahead and do the imbalance. Ray is absolutely 100% correct. Start levers are and fire handles, and basically everything that's irreversible needs to be confirmed before you pull them. Here's an interesting thing what not a lot of people know, and there's a scavenge pump, which will scavenge fuel from the center tank. Even if the center tank is empty, there's still a small scavenge pump which will suck out the remainder, the excuse me, a little bit of fuel, and it will move that fuel. That will actually be a fuel transfer. That will be in the correct sense, meaning that it will actually physically move fuel from the center tank and put it into the main tank, number one actually, in the left wing. That's quite an interesting fact. Not a lot of people know about that. I mean, obviously pilots know, but there's a center tank fuel scavenge pump, and it works automatically. There's no switch for it. As soon as the main tank, number one tank is about half empty or half full, whatever you like, Scavenge pump will work automatically, and it will just be on for the remainder of the flight. And we'll try to scavenge whatever fuel is left in the center tank. The fuel temperature meter, which is this one right here. Here's where you measure the fuel temperature. That's also in number one tank. Another thing that is in number one tank, guys, is the APU fuel feed. The APU gets its fuel from number one tank in normal conditions. Now you could use fuel from number two tank if you open the crossfeed, or you use the center tank, obviously, because center tank has a higher output pressure. But normally from number one tank. If, for example, all the pumps are off, the APU will suction feed. Rob speed, I might have missed it. Normal situation, an imbalance will only occur because the pumps are not exactly identical. Rob, yes and no. Yes, only if you open up the crossfeed valve. Okay? Because if you open up the crossfeed valve, you will eventually have an imbalance because the pumps, they're not 100% identical. And whichever side has the most amount of output pressure will also be the side that will feed both engines. Because if this side has a higher output pressure than the left side, the fuel from here will go through into the engine, but it will also force its way through the crossfeed into the other engine. And you will eventually develop a fuel imbalance. No, because it doesn't really matter, because the crossfeed should, in normal condition, should be closed, and this side is cut off from the other side, so they're independent. A fuel imbalance would then develop due to a fuel flow difference. Okay, so you see there, that was 109, 107. That will develop into a fuel imbalance eventually. Or a fuel leak. Or a fuel leak, Rob. GLC says, so you should turn on a pump and operate an APU, or you just rely on suction feeding. Now, the recommended procedure, there's no limitation. You could just suction feed the thing. Boeing recommends that if for extended period of time, if you use the APU for extended period of time, turn on a pump. So, go ahead and turn on one of the pumps. So, for example, turn on the aft pump or the forward pump at the number one tank. That will expand the lifespan of the APU. Or if you use electrical, so if you use electricity and bleed air from the APU, also go ahead and turn on the one of the pumps. You don't need to turn on both of them; just one is enough. It's just to increase the service length of the APU. Fun fact: the Concorde uses fuel to transfer the trim. Yeah, fuel trim, absolutely. A lot of airplanes have that. The 737 does not have fuel trim. So yeah, so temperature gauge, APU, tank number one. And then obviously each tank has a fuel quantity indicator, and so on. In total, the 737 can take, the 800 can take about 20.9 tons of fuel. 20.9 tons. Now, we talked about the 777 before. Trip fuel is between 60 and 70 tons. So that's basically our landing weight. That's the trip fuel. Alright guys, so bam. There you go. Up. Here she is. That's a schematic. So let's go through it. So that's number one engine. Number one engine, that's the shutoff. One of the shutoff valves. The other one is there. That's the spar. That's the engine shutoff valve. That's where you stop fuel going to the engine. This is number one tank. Okay. There's a forward and aft pump. The forward pump is in this thing. This is the forward. Sorry, this is the forward, and that's the aft pump. Aft pump, forward pump, in the main tank number one. They will pump fuel through this line into the engine. And you see it looks exactly like the schematic here. Okay? That's the APU. And here's where APU gets fuel from. You see it's from the number one tank, just like we talked about. And you should also be able to see, let's see, can we see it? No. Anyway, and those are the center pumps. Center tank, there's no forward and aft, they're left and right when it comes to the center. In the main tanks, they're forward and aft. Alright guys? And that concludes my talk on the fuel system. It's not much to say. I mean, it's a basic system. Worth noting is also that the fuel actually cools the pumps, the electric pumps as well, the hydraulic pumps. Guys, any questions on the fuel systems? If not, we're gonna go ahead and do a emergency. We're gonna have a failure. Think if you have any questions. I'm gonna go ahead and grab some water. Maddox asks, how's the weather in Malaga? Today it was like 25, 24 degrees, clear skies, sunshine. It's always nice in Malaga. Alright, seems like there are no questions on the fuel system. So we'll go ahead and we'll fail something. Menu. The Muffin have you ever had a shift where you go back and forth to the same airports? Yeah, sure, absolutely. For example, from Stansted we fly to Dublin. We fly Stansted, Dublin, and then from Dublin back to Stansted, and from Stansted back to Dublin, and from Dublin back to Stansted. So, yeah. Excuse me. Ray, so how often do you do cross-feeding in real life? Not often, man. One in every 100th flight or something. You would do, because normally there'll be not enough. You don't need to, like the airplane will land fine, and you won't actually get an imbalance warning. Like normally the engines are pretty good. Metsan first says, when on the ground and power, and you want to start APU, you should have all but one pump on. Mets, you don't need to turn on the pumps for the APU. The APU will suction feed fine, and it will suction feed from the #1 tank. That being said, if you're going to use the APU for extended period of time, or if you're going to use electricity and bleed air at the same time, Boeing recommends you to turn on one of the pump. You don't need to turn all of them, but at least one of them from the #1 tank. That will just increase the lifespan of the APU. Without any hydraulics, what control of the aircraft do you have? It'll fly. It will fly. It'll be like it'll be really. You have to use a lot of muscle, right? But it will go into something called manual reversion, and the airplane will fly, and you have enough authority to actually flare the airplane as well. So it's not like the Airbus, where if you lose everything and the airplane will just shut down and you'll crash. Because there are still wires going physically from the controls to the control surfaces. So if you physically move the yoke, it will actually move the control surfaces. Not like the 777 or the Airbus where it's fly-by-wire. Ferras, man, hope to see you on the next stream though. Thank you so much for joining me. Appreciate it. Say your flight plan leaves 100 kilo in the center. No, don't turn on the pump. Okay, that's a good question. So you asked, what if it's 100 kilos when you take off? Okay, so when you take off in the center tank, would you turn on the pumps for that? That's a great question. No, you wouldn't. Now, the reason are twofold. Uh, First of all, even if you have a little bit of fuel, so let's say not okay, 100 is like extreme, but let's say you have like 300 kilos. I would not turn on the center pumps because that will give you, once the airplane turns, for example, during taxi and stuff, lines up, the attitude changes. You will have something called no, it's not called something. It's just you will get a master caution fuel because those fuel pumps will start flickering, and when they flicker, they might actually, you don't want lights going on and off. And actually, Boeing says if there's less than 453 kilos, don't use the center tank until you're established back on cruise to avoid those low pressure lights. So, so you need more than 500 kilos. So 500 kilos plus, go ahead and turn on the center tanks. RJP says an APU costs 125K for overhaul. So you see, you could be nice to the APU and you could use one of the fuel pumps, and use one on the left side, because it gets fuel from the left side of the fuel manifold, so meaning the left tank. So yeah, you want to be nice to the engines and the APU and stuff. Lufthansa, if there's an engine failure, is there an action you should be taking on the fuel on the engine? Yeah. If, for example, number one engine fails, so number one engine failed, this is number one engine, okay? It's after the valves here, so this thing is number one engine. If that failed, number two engine cannot use number one engines. Sorry, the number two engine cannot use fuel on tank number one, right? Because it cannot go through the suction feed, sorry, on the cross feed. And the number one engine is not working, so now you have no access to the fuel on the failed side. So, and this is really important when you do the QRH to understand what it's saying. It's saying that the fuel on the operative side should be less than the failed side. If not, suspect a fuel leak, do not balance fuel. What does that mean? It means that if number one engine is failed, so number two engine is working, it should use fuel from number two side, and number two tank should be keep decreasing, and number two side should have less fuel than number one tank. If not, suspect a fuel leak. To access that fuel, you'll go ahead and open the crossfeed valve and do the balancing procedure, which we talked about. Have you been to Liverpool? Many times, the Muffin Man. I might have missed this, but does it drain the center fuel before the others? Yes, it does, because the center tank pumps work at a way higher output pressure than the main tanks. So fuel would be used by the center tanks before the main tanks. So normally the engines will be pressure fed by the center tank and then pressure fed by the main tanks. Alright. Alright, guys. Failure. Alright, let me see if I find the failure. Alright, here we go. I can do it. So, this is the scenario, guys. Very interesting. We're flying along, and everything is good, having a little bit of coffee, we're talking, and all of a sudden, your first officer tells you, "Oh, Captain, there's a fuel imbalance." Okay, first thing you do is you figure out, is it a fuel leak? Okay, you analyze the problem, and you come to the conclusion that no, it's not a fuel leak, it's just an imbalance. Okay, good. And then you correctly decide to balance the fuel. Great. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. We're going to balance the fuel. So to balance the fuel, as you remember, open the crossfeed first, because we're going to be turning off pumps, so we will still want to make sure we have positive output pressure all the time to the engines. We're going to turn off one of the pumps. Bam, bam. So now this side will decrease, and eventually our fuel balance will be finished. Good. Notice how this is now bright. Okay, sorry, dim. So the valve is open. Okay, good. Fuel balance is finished. We'll turn on our pumps first, and then we'll close the crossfeed. So we're closing the crossfeed, and now aha! Now, guys, ladies and gentlemen. Alright. You see? It doesn't go bright. It should go bright. Doesn't do it. Okay, this is okay, fine. This is shit. Okay, PMDG doesn't simulate this good. PMDG does not simulate that good. Because that should go bright and should stay bright because it's not in the command position. Doesn't matter. Okay, what we're gonna is okay. We're gonna what to do. Okay, imagine this light doesn't work anymore. Oh, sim is paused. No, sim is unpaused. Sim is unpaused. Sim is we're flying. We're flying. Actually approaching top of the sun. Should start. I'll wind this down before I forget. No, it's on pause, guys. I don't know what you. No, it's on pause. Yeah, we're moving. Look at the clouds. Look at the beautiful clouds. So yeah, it should go bright and should tell you it's not in command position. Doesn't matter. Imagine this light doesn't work anymore. Doesn't work. Okay, the light is out. Okay, so your first reaction is, well, okay, maybe it's the light bulb. Okay, you replace the light bulb, you check it. No, the light bulbs are fine, but the light doesn't work still. The light doesn't work. Huh. Interesting. So let's go ahead and pull up our QRH. Let's go ahead and pull up our QRH. Maddox, oh man, thank you so much, man. Thank you much for joining me and asking questions today. I really enjoyed having you in the chat. I hope to see you tomorrow, maybe. Can you Z Muffin Man? Can you replace them? Yes, you can. You see, this is where we keep the spare bulbs. So just open that panel. There'll be a lot of light bulbs in there, and to replace them, you just pull it out. Just pull out the light. There'll be two lights in there because of redundancy, and you can replace both of them. Richard D. Gaming, thank you so much, man. Quick reference handbook, yeah. So what we're looking for is fuel, and fuel should be. There we go. Let's go ahead and look for fuel. Anyways, crossfeed valve in up. Where is it? 12. Sorry, I'm making people dizzy. There we go. So you're gonna go to this one, crossfeed selector inoperative. Okay. Aha. So they have an old checklist. Doesn't matter. So we're gonna do this checklist. It says crossfeed selector inoperative. The crossfeed valve open light stays illuminated bright blue if the fuel crossfeed valve is not command position. So in our case, it's still dim, but disregarded. Imagine the light doesn't even work. Choose one. Crossfeed selector is closed. Okay. This checklist you won't be able to do this because the light is not following the logic it's supposed to do. So what you do is you go ahead and you check your circuit breaker. and the circuit breaker for the crossfeed valve is popped. If the circuit breaker is popped, the circuit breaker not only powers the crossfeed valve, it actually also powers the light. I don't know why. Not a lot of people know that, but the light and the crossfeed are on the same damn circuit breaker. So if the circuit breaker pops, the crossfeed won't work and the light won't work either. So in our case, because we had balanced the fuel, we know almost with like 90% certainty that the crossfeed valve failed in the open position. Okay, so if the crossfeed is in the open position, you can just do this one. If like allow vary thrust to maintain the fuel balance. If unable, maintain acceptable balance. Land near suitable. No, that's not it. Wait a minute. That's not it. That's not it at all. Ah, here it is. Here. So crossfeed selector is closed, but the crossfeed valve is open. So we kind of know that the valve is open. So then you could just balance the fuel. Bam, bam. Okay. Now, so that's fine. Could you reset the circuit breaker? So here's where people get a little bit confused. Can you reset a circuit breaker in flight? Boeing says you can reset a circuit breaker once in flight after cooling period, so you need to give it a minute, and only once if, in the opinion of the commander, there is a significant safety benefit. Now, here's where I wanted to get at. Guys, what would you do? And we're going to do a straw poll. Here we go, guys. So, Boeing says circuit breaker may only be reset once after cooling period if, in the opinion of the commander, there's a significant safety benefit. Think of everything I taught you guys about the fuel system and how it works. The crossfeed has failed most likely in the open position. What would you guys do? We talk about the circuit breaker that will allow you to regain control of the crossfeed valve, and it will give you the light again. So now you don't know that the crossfeed is open. You don't know if it's closed. You're guessing it's probably open because you just balanced the fuel. It's most likely open, but you don't know, right? Because the light doesn't work. Because the circuit breaker is popped, and you know it's popped. Boeing says you could reset if you wanted to, if you think it's a significant safety benefit. So you don't know the position of the crossfeed valve, but would you reset the circuit breaker for this failure? Alright guys, so let's have a look, see what people answered. So looks like most of you guys, you wouldn't reset the circuit breaker. Most of you guys would not reset the circuit breaker. Depends on how much fuel is left. Resetting blind is always risky, isn't it? Okay, now I will tell you what I would do. Tiburon says no, because you can balance with the throttle or the pumps. Okay, I'll tell you something else now. What if the engine failed? What would happen then? What would happen if the crossfeed is stuck closed? You don't know. It could be closed, right? Because the light doesn't work. Like in PMDG, look, The light is not working. It doesn't matter if I have this or this. The light is in op for whatever reason. You know, so I don't know the position of the crossfeed. What if our engine were to fail? What if the number one engine failed? What would happen? Think about how the fuel system worked and see if somebody can tell me in chat what would happen if the number one engine failed. What would happen if the crossfeed is stuck closed, for example? What would it matter? What would it matter if the engine failed and the crossfeed was stuck closed? Ray says, well, it would be unbalanced quite quickly because it failed. Failed closed. Failed open, no problem at all. Absolutely right. Fuel by suction only. RJP says, well, the engine is failed, right? So there's nothing, I mean, nobody's going to suction anything. The engine has failed due to some different reason. So the engine, bird strike, seized, bam, stall, whatever, engine does not work. It won't suction feed because the engine is off. Fuel will not be used on the left side. Absolutely correct. So you're all correct. You're all correct. Except RGP. Because he didn't understand my question probably. So if the number one engine fails, you cannot access the fuel here. You will have an imbalance. That's fine. But the airplane will land fine in an imbalance. The problem is you just lost half the fuel. So now so you're going to use about twice as much of fuel. Your fuel flow will be about twice as much. Because you need way more thrust to keep yourself flying with one engine. You need almost twice as much thrust. I mean twice as much fuel flow. So you'll use double the rate from one tank only, and you'd lost half the fuel. So exactly, you lost half the fuel. But now here is where I'm going to argue what I would answer. I would answer, would I reset the circuit breaker? Initially, no, I wouldn't. Because let's think about it. If it failed open, that's fine. If it's open, no problem. We can just balance the fuel with the pumps. Bam, bam, bam. Just like we talked about. No problem. Now, if the engine fails and it's open, again, no problem. We still have access to both sides. Problem is if it's failed closed. And that would only be a problem if the engine fails. So I would argue I wouldn't reset the circuit breaker unless I fly along and then I have a subsequent failure of the engine and the engine fails. Then I would go back and say, you know what? I'm going to reset that circuit breaker because, hey, now it will actually be a significant safety benefit. So initially, no. But if the engine were to fail, you need to take these things into account. Like, what are the implications? Well, the implications are if it's stuck closed, the implication would be that, man, we lost half the fuel, and that could be a really bad time to lose half the fuel with the engine failure. So, always come back and look and think about the implications. Now, I'm going to talk about something else as well. Well, you could see quite quickly if it failed open or closed after engine failure, wouldn't you? Yeah, well, I mean, you could, absolutely. If you can't access the fuel on that side, probably it's closed, right? But in that case, I would go ahead and reset the circuit breaker. We're at 15,000 feet. Now, here's another one. Here's another one, guys. This is the failure. This is the failure that has happened in airlines that fly the 737. The crossfeed would, for whatever reason, would fail in the open position. Okay, crossfeed would fail in the open position. The light would not work, and the crews of the airplane, so the captain and the first officer, would shut down the engines. Why would they do that? It's quite interesting. This has happened in a lot of operators that have 737. The crossfeed will fail open, and people keep suspecting fuel leak, and they keep shutting down the engine. Why would they do that? It's because if this thing is stuck open without the crews knowing it, whichever side has the highest output pressure, that's the side which will feed both engines. So what's happened is that the people, the guys that have been flying, fuck. Damn, this Easy Dog just died on me. Both engines would use fuel from one tank, and the rate, the fuel would just decrease really quickly, like rapidly, and they would incorrectly assume it's a fuel leak. Since then, Boeing has changed the checklist. So I'm actually going to see, do they have that checklist? Yeah. I think the new checklist, so this is what people got stuck at. This is the engine fuel leak checklist. They got to this stage, right? An increase in fuel imbalance, approximately 230 kilos or more in 30 minutes, should be considered engine fuel leak. That's exactly what happened, but what they didn't understand or didn't realize is that you're not actually losing fuel. It's just that two engines are using fuel from one tank, and they would incorrectly shut down the engine. This is why it's so important, guys, to think about the bigger picture. Are we actually losing fuel? Well, if they just spent some time and added up all the fuel they actually had on board, they would realize, no, actually we're not losing fuel at all. What the fuck? We're just using fuel from one tank, so something is wrong. So that's what I wanted to show you guys. Just think about it. Because it's true, right? They would have lost more than 230 kilos in 30 minutes from one tank. The imbalance would have been greater. The imbalance would have increased by 230 kilos or more in 30 minutes. But man, it's not that they're losing fuel. It's just that they're balancing fuel. They're transferring fuel. Two engines are using fuel for one tank. And they would go ahead and shut down the engines. Bam, 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 bam. So always look at the bigger picture. Don't rush. Read and understand what this says. Boeing has since changed this checklist because people kept doing the mistake. So really it's important to gather all the information and really analyze the problem. Don't just go blindly in and sword drawn and pressing buttons and stuff. No. Take it easy. Look at the bigger picture. What's actually happening? Can you show the new checklist? I don't have it accessible right now, man. But I'll try to find it. Alright, guys. So we're 10,000 feet. Alright. Man, look at the scenery. It's so much better. Orbix it was worth the purchase. Thank you so much, guys, for actually recommending me and donating. Everybody that donated, is thanks to you guys I could actually buy all this. So I'm just gonna set up for the approach. Opa. 30 what's that? 1107? 110 107 110 up 1107, and the courses are 266. Two 66. Cool. Yeah. So Ray, the final thing in the checklist to shut down the engine. The reason is not to prevent a possible fire. It's because if you shut down the engine, you're gonna close these lights, right? Remember we talked about the engine spar valve and the engine the shut-off valve. Shutting down the engine will close those, and that will stop the fuel leak most likely. If not, there's a hole in your wing. If that doesn't stop the fuel leak, there's a hole in the wing, and that's very unlikely due to the way the wing is, like the tank is built. It's part of the structure. So it's very unlikely that would have happened. So shutting down the engine would stop the fuel leak. That's why you shut down the engine. Hey CDA 3D Live, how are you doing, man? How are you doing? Laptop 903. Hey man, off stream question. When the autopilot is connected, do the rudder pedals move? In the airplanes I fly, no. In some 737s, yes. It depends on if they have a third channel called a rudder channel. If they do, it will physically move the rudders. Yes. Are you able, if you have time, to make a YouTube video on how to move the line through the FMC? The line? Which line? What do you mean, man? Tell me what you mean. What line? Move the line through the FMC. What's that animal behind you? It's Simba! Simba! The Muffin Man. I have a YouTube channel now. Just scroll down and click on my YouTube link. Oh, like videos with no chat interfering. Yeah, maybe I'll do that later, man. Maybe I'll do that later.
Wind shear, wind shear, wind shear.
What the fuck? No way! Rob Speed donated 100 euros? Last time I donated was because you landed in Hamburg. Since you went there again today, lol, congratulations on the partnership, and also thanks for putting videos on YouTube in case I missed the stream. Rob! What did you do? What the hell? Last week, it was like 2 weeks ago, I landed in Hamburg, and Rob donated when I landed in Hamburg as well. Rob, thank you so much, man. What can I do to fucking repay you? That's yeah, oh my god, that is so nice. I'm speechless, man. I don't know what to say. How can I convey? Oh my god, I don't know what to say. That is so generous, man. Where the fuck? Simba! Did you hear that? Did you see that? Where the fuck is the cat? I don't know what to say, man. Rob, are you in chat? The face was well worth it. Keep streaming. I love this channel. Man, I will never... Like, you don't need to donate for me to stream. Let's put it that way. Pride versus Grease Lang? Well, that won't happen. Clearly, you're new to the chat. Or to the stream. Thank you so much, Rob. I will put that money to good use. It won't go to fucking... I won't use that to something stupid. I promise you, man. I won't buy alcohol or drugs with it. You know. It will go towards the stream. I swear to God, man. I promise you. Thank you so much, man. Wow. Clorix, do any of your coworkers know that you stream your stuff? Have they ever said anything about it? Perhaps they watch? I've had a few coworkers that watch, and they actually learn as well from my streams, to be honest with you. Oh my god, the scenery is beautiful! This is Orbit. I didn't know. People kept saying buy it, buy it, buy it, but like, I'm like, yeah, I'll get it. But look how cool it looks. It looks way better. Rob, man, thank you so much, man. Seriously. This money will go towards the stream. 100%. 100%. Wow. He's such a fucking hero, this guy. Should build a real life cockpit, man. Wow. It's like Rob and Munkin, you know, and yeah. Thanks, Rob. Seriously. I mean, like Cody, Joe, Munkin, Mager, even Trevor, man. Trevor is crazy as well. I wonder if he's still in chat, in the chat. Thanks, guys. You guys have been the best. Next time I come to Hamburg, man, I'm gonna take pictures of Hamburg on the show. I'm gonna put it on my Twitter. Like, I swear to God, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. Henry, no, I just bought the Orbex base, and I bought Vector. But man, this looks fucking. This looks like Billund. It looks like Denmark. Did you say thanks, Rob? This is the stream. The stream that was about fuel. It was about me getting partnered, and it was about thanking Rob. Oh my god, I'm gonna get my joystick out and we're gonna celebrate by me screwing up the landing. Alright, let's do it, man. Let's do it, guys. There we go. Let's put the runway heading. Missed approach altitude is 2000, yeah. Just for, yeah, I have Rex. I bought Rex, yeah. I bought Rex and I chose one of the clouds. I think what I'm doing wrong is I'm not clicking on active sky clouds. I'm just clicking start the game. Moin moin, guten Morgen. Ja, Hamburg ist sehr gut. Ich liebe Hamburg. Oh man. Alright guys, I'm gonna do this now. I'm psyched. I think this will be my best landing ever. Seriously. So I'm gonna turn off the auto throttle and I'm gonna disconnect the autopilot. And I'm gonna land this sucker. Okay, here we go. Give you guys some audio. And no, wait. Okay. Here we go. I didn't arm the speed brake or anything, but that's fine. I forgot the speed brake and auto brake and everything in my excitement. But I think this will be my best landing ever. I got a feeling. Excuse me. Looking good. Looking good.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Oh no. I float. Aha! Aha! But it was soft. It was soft, I think. Oh! I downloaded that program where I can see my landing rates. I did. Somebody told me to get it, so How do you do it? So I open that program. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. How do you do it? Aerosoft launcher. Is that it? No. Yeah, it is. Is it? No, that's not it. That's something else. That's one of my sceneries. Damn it! What was it called? That program. Project Fly Pilot Tools. There you go. That's the one. I think. Connect. Landing rate. 141. Is that good? 141? Is that good or bad? I don't know. I hope it's good. Okay, let's go view. How do you go back? Instant replay. No. Alright. Check this out, guys. I'm gonna disable this. Damn. There we go. Here we go, boys. You guys ready for this? Fine? It was only fine? Man! That was a perfect landing, guys. I did flare. Sorry, I did float way too much. Okay. Okay, looking good. Looking good. Oh! Oh, damn it! Damn it! God damn it! I would scream at my first officer if he did that. If he floated that much, like I would be so pissed off. Tower view. Tower? Tower view? So is that 120? Tower view, there you go. No, Maria still beats me. Damn it, if I didn't float, it would have been so nice. I don't know. Guys, there she stands. The beautiful 737. Such a beautiful airplane. Thank you so much for the stream today. What caused the float? Me being a shitty flight simulator pilot, man. How are you playing? Replaying it. I'm pressing analysis and I'm pressing instant replay. Can I post a link? All right, man. There you go, man. Supposed to be a little bit flyable than the real one. I know you call model based dynamic slicer, but the flight... Guys, Z-Muffin man. Guys, you keep forgetting. This is what I'm flying with. Like, trust me, it is nothing like the real thing. Nothing. Zero. You know, big zero. The actual hands-on flying is zero. Like the real thing. Also, when you fly real airplanes, you have you have more visual cues and stuff like that, which you rely on. But system-wise, the PMDG is almost bloody spot on. I usually find one flaw per flight. Per stream, I'll find something. In this stream, I think it was the crossfeed thing I didn't really agree with. But there's always at least one thing. But there are minor things, very minor. Josh Gibb, thanks so much, man. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. I really do. Do you have throttle? Of course I have a throttle, man. It's right there. It's that thing right there. You see that? That's my throttle. Guys, My stream has never really been about flying the airplane, to be honest with you. It's just me talking. Visual cues, I mean, what I mean is like you look outside and you have more sense of the spatial, or you higher or low by just looking. Same with like driving a car. Driving a car is not the same as looking at a 2D monitor driving a car. It's not the same, right? If you know what I mean. Um, oh, Liverpool, man. Zimufa, man. I'll definitely fly to Liverpool many more times. Thank you so much, Richard Game. I live in Malaga at the moment in Spain. Guys, thank you so much for joining my stream. Thank you so much for all the kind donations I've had today. It's been unbelievable. We had a lot of donations in the beginning of the stream, so I want to thank all of them. It's been unbelievable, like seriously. So special thanks to Tech Addicts, Adam, Daniel, Virtual again. Virtual is this guy, Ray, Trevor, of course, Camero, and our today's superstar hero, Rob Speed. It's not the first time he donates, by the way. Rob Speed, danke schön. Ich liebe dich. I'm sorry my German is not good. Sprechen Sie langsam, ich verstehen, but I cannot actually speak it. I had so much fun streaming today, guys. I really did. Next stream will be tomorrow. I'm not sure what we'll do. It'll be a short stream and it'll be an early stream. It'll be around 8 or 9 Zulu, whatever time that is for you guys. And thanks again on you guys making it possible for me to become a partner with Twitch. We're definitely going to celebrate. Next time Maria is back, we'll have an awesome stream. We're going to do an amazing, huge giveaway. It'll be the biggest giveaway ever. Definitely stay tuned on that. Unfortunately, she won't be able to join us this week. Normally, she joins once a week. This week, real life commitments. Unfortunately, both me and Maria are going to Gothenburg in Sweden. We haven't been to Sweden for a long time, so we're gonna miss that week. Next week after that, she'll be back, and then we're gonna have a huge giveaway, as always. Alright, guys, I will see you on the next stream. Ciao.